how much you lived here for like what then 1 year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much different people were here to you as compared to where you come from?
Well, in my opinion, there weren't as many differences because I guess Alsace is pretty close to German culture, because of the history and everything. So I didn't really see a lot of differences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even people. It's same customs. Food is well.
Food is similar, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of pork.
Yeah, that's true. Generalsaft. This is what I learned from the 80s.
Pork, beer.
Yeah, well,
basics.
Yeah. That you guys know beer, sure. So how much of a distance? What, 500 kilometers, 1,000?
No, my God, no.
No, not even.
It's between 300 and 400. Well, from my hometown, it's probably a little further.
Have you ever went 300 kilometers further in France? It's completely different. That's one of the things that's fascinating to me in France.
Mm.
Where have you gone?
I mean, I've been to the south of France. I've been to Paris. What I didn't do at all is the north and the west.
All right. Why I'm asking this is because, you come from a culture I have really little access to, which is an intriguing point. It always is. And I have a certain understanding of how outsider people look at Germans.
Yeah.
You have a certain reputation. And then
I'm curious
French.
about hearing about that reputation.
Sorry?
I'm curious about that reputation.
Are you really?
I just want to know if it's the same things that...
Sure. Aligned, of course. I mean, I think it could be summarized up as the German way of thinking, the language and the culture has contributed a lot, and then it contributed the absolute extremism that only were up to par to the Russians' kind of genocide, which I don't think we really understand, but it is still something we hold as an example. And I don't think it should be forgotten, but it should be put into perspective, which I think people have a harder time to do. So it's easier to prejudge people. But I don't think nationality accounts for that much. Having that said, since you speak multiple languages, a couple of episodes ago, we had this debate with Arthur and Archit. And they disagreed with me. They don't feel the same thing, but when I speak a different language, since I started learning them very late, I feel like I'm a different person. I act differently. I think differently, certainly. And I have had this theory for like 10 years that one of the reasons why there's such a big difference in behavior and in the manifestation of thought, if you want, or work ethic, for example, between the French and the German people, is primarily because your language is so much more structured.
Yeah, I think that language has a lot of influence on a lot of things that maybe we don't even think of, or we don't have really in mind. Language is the basis for really a lot of things. It's a part of culture, of course.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, language influences the way you act. I wouldn't say I'm a different person when I speak another language, but what I realize is that, of course, my voice changes.
Oh yeah.
Because you have to change the intonation. You have to change the way you structure a sentence. When you will go up with your voice, when you will go down, all that stuff. Whoops.
No, it's alright. Don't break my statue.
So yeah, and also the grammar, the structure of a language can play a big role, of course. What I realized is that in German, it's like, since we can just basically create a new word, we can describe things really clearly. So really precise.
Maybe it's something I don't fully understand. How is it that that does not exist in other languages? I could do that in English very easily. Doesn't have to be grammatically correct, but it would make sense, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, but in English you're always forced to say the thing of the thing of the thing. In German, you just put everything together and it's a new word.
Okay.
In every other language that I know, this doesn't work as easy like that.
Hungarian does
Well,
in some
yeah,
ways, but
I
it
don't
was
know
influenced
Hungarian.
a lot from well, we were oppressed by the Austrians for a very long time. So that's one of the reasons why German was learning German for me was obligatory. So I get the notions of it. It's just, well, I would have to practice, and I will. But psychology first, because I don't have all the time in the world. It's very complicated.